Hey guys, it's Summing Rush. Today I'm going to be showing you how I like to play on Siegfried line when I'm bottom tier, and then I'm also going to be showing you how to deal with a phenomenon that seems to be happening way more frequently, and that's going to be a field rush from the northern side of the map. So they've got a lot of light tanks. When I started this game, I didn't really look at their lineup. I just knew that I didn't want to play the city because I'm in a Cromwell and I'm bottom tier. So what I like to do on this map is I like to come to F5. That lets you shoot anyone who drives into the field relatively easily, and you can see they're going to send a lot of tanks field. So what you're going to notice is after I get this shot is that it's very, very common for, like, they're giving away their play right now. Quite obviously they're lit. They did not take the safe route, and so that's telling us they're pushing the field. Now, the risk, this is this is everything that goes through my mind right here. As they're pushing the field, obviously we have shots, but this is going to be foreseeably bad, because what happens when the enemy team pushes the field like this, they get control of K5, which is this hill right up here, and that hill lets them shoot people like this T29, IS-6, and heavy tank in the rear. So what's going to happen is we don't want that to happen, so we're going to respond to that, and we can take a very, very strong position on this map, and that's also going to be K5. Did I say F5? I meant K5. So we're going to go over here. We want to deny them from flanking our heavy tanks, and that's going to be the play we're going to be making as a platoon. Even though we're bottom tier, we're going to be able to leverage the fact that the enemy tanks are light tanks, right? So our pen doesn't matter. Our DPM is going to be our strength when we're shooting at light tanks, and that's what we're going to be hoping to leverage. Now, as we're driving into position, I generally like to look all around me. It would be logical for one tank to be in K1. Now, what you're going to notice is as I drive into location, look up here. You're going to see a tree get knocked over, and so I'm going to notice this too as I'm playing. It's going to happen sometime about now. There you go, the tree gets knocked over, and so I notice this, and so I ping, okay, there's a tank at K1. Now I'm going to blind fire these bushes. Now the reason I'm going to do this is because there isn't really anything better for me to shoot at. Like, at the time I could shoot at a bulldog, but he's being inconsequential, he's being useless. If he tries to leave that position, he'll probably die. So killing him is not one of my top priorities. The guy in K1 could be a huge pain in the ass throughout the game if we don't get him dead. So what you're going to see me doing is I'm going to put shots. Now the first one hits the dirt, the second one goes high, it doesn't disappear, the third one is going to hit the dirt, and then what you're going to watch with this shot right here is that that one disappears. So I'm going to take another shot there, and that one quite obviously disappears. So I'm going to zoom in, that one disappears again, and then I'm going to take a 4-shot, and suddenly it hits dirt. So what that means is I shot a tank about 3 times while he was there. We don't know who it is, but obviously I hit someone, and so that's confirmation that a tank is up there at K1. Now the LTG appears, he's full HP, so I wasn't blind firing him, and you can see he's in the open, so that's going to be really easy for us to just farm him. Like I said, we can leverage our DPM against these tanks, and suddenly the 1375 appears, and he's down like 400 hit points. So we're going to focus him down because he's easier to shoot at than an LTG. Haza gets the kill, and now we're going to start shooting at the LTG. Now, I want to mention something as this is happening. So obviously we're farming light tanks. There's not a whole lot to commentate about this. What you're going to find when you play J5, K5 on this map is that generally people over here will start shooting at you. Now, TDs will sit up like way down here at C6. They won't shoot at you, obviously, because they're out of your whatever render range. But what can happen is sometimes if you get spotted while you're on top of this hill, is that heavy tanks who brawl in this 6th line will have shots on you. So you need to be aware of that before you take this position. If you're going to play from J5, what you need to do is just go to K5, like right down here, and that's going to put this hill in between you and any heavies over there, and thus you'll be safe. So we obviously don't have to deal with that situation right here, so we're taking full advantage of the height that they've given us, and we can just put shots into this guy. He's not going to last very long, unless we keep bouncing him. So there we go. We get the kill. That's the first kill of the game, and we have successfully defeated a field push. So I'm going to shoot at a Cromwell B. You can see I also have shots in this guy. Once I shoot at him, I'm going to get lit. The M41 did push up. No one shot at him, but it was too little too late. So the fact that we're lit and the fact that this looks like, well, we're up 3 tanks, you know, we can probably win this game, makes us decide to go play the city. Now, like I said, the city's generally difficult to play, but a couple things that they've done make it very easy for us to be successful in the city. One, they've been hyper aggressive. So they've got 3 tanks trying to push into a Scorpion. I can go shoot at them while being supported by the Scorpions. That's going to make it a lot easier. And they've also got a lot of hit points here. So there's 2 deciding factors to take the city. One is that we're probably going to win the city. And then 2 is that I'll get more damage out of it. I don't want to finish with only 1,011 damage when this game is up. So we're going to push into them with the support of the Scorpion, and the rest from here is pretty much just brawling. You can see the VK puts a shot into me. Now, when you're bottom, like, you still have to realize if you're being aggressive and you're bottom tier like this, you do have to be careful, because all it takes is 2 shots from the A44 for me to die. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke on them. If they're not looking at me, I'm okay if the VK shoots me, but you can see the A44 starts to look at me. I'm not going to take a hit. So what's going to happen is we're going to wait for support. I'm not willing to take a hit from an A44 when they've got a CDA unlit, and everyone knows that CDAs love to camp at C0. So if I take a hit from an A44, I'll probably be one shot by a camping TD who hasn't been lit all game. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wait for someone to shoot him, and then we're just going to wait for the A44 to shoot, and then we're going to push him, and that's it's just chasing damage from here. So that was a raffle stomp, but I hope it was useful in how to respond to the field play. The field play is super easy to defend against. The problem arises if you don't defend against it, and lately people don't even play the field because it's such a shitty position to take, and so it can be relatively dangerous, but that's how you respond to that type of play if you see it. So let's go take a look at the map tactic and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so as you can see, the enemy team ended up sending like 4 tanks up the field, give or take, something like that. What you'll notice, I want to talk about a mistake that they made that made my play possible, is the fact that the mistake they made was just getting lit. So they took a route something like this, that got them spotted, obviously. If they had taken this route instead, it would have been a lot harder for us to, like, we wouldn't have spotted them. So the information would have been a lot later, and it would have been a lot harder for us to make an informed decision. But they didn't do that, so we took full advantage of it. Now, if you ever see this type of push from the enemy team, we can make it a dotted line with an arrow. If the enemy ever does something like this and you're like noticing it, what you want to do to respond to that obviously is take K5 just like we did. So the lines you have to be careful of from K5 will look something like this. It's a huge threat. You really have to deal with it. Then you also have to kind of like, I mean, this guy could have shot at us if we were lit, but we weren't lit, so that's a possibility. It's mostly tanks up here that are a big threat. How do I say it? Tanks up here are the biggest threat, and then obviously you have to deal with the guys directly in front of you. So the way I dealt with those people were quite standard. I shot at them, like as you should, I guess. But what you'll want to do is, if people are shooting at you from over here, you just go to the bottoms, the underside of this hill. That lets you get slightly worse shots on the people who are playing K1, but you know, they still work, so you can still make it work. And so that would be my advice to responding to that situation. The rest of the game was just going to where the damage was, playing it semi-intelligently, and not dying. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful. We can look at the end plates, I guess, to see how much damage I did. Alright, so as you can see, that was 2230 XP, 2,449 damage. So in the end, we we did 803 damage to the 1375. I think I did 2 shots to him while he was spotted, so the rest of that was while I was blind firing him. So basically I hit him 4 times while blind firing him or something like that. I don't exactly remember. We came top on the damage for the team, like we came top on damage right there, 1,118 base XP. And something I just noticed is that we were against Taugrim on the enemy team, so I think that's the YouTuber, possibly. I don't know. I actually didn't know if you played on NA or not, but there you go. I met someone famous in game. So that was 31,000 credits earned. We ended up running out of AP while I was chasing down the last guy, so shot gold and lost some credits there. But yeah, I hope this video is helpful. I mean, this is how I try to respond to this situation. It seems to be happening so often. Like, pubbies will just push all the way down to here, you know, kind of badly. They'll do this first, and then they'll push all the way down to there. So that's not the correct way to do it, but I won't complain as long as they aren't on my team. So that's my experience with this map. That's how I deal with it, and I hope this video is helpful. One thing also that I guess I could mention is that if you lose the city and you've managed to win the field, it's a very good position to farm damage from. Like, what you can do is you can just sort of take this area, and that gives you so much. I mean, if you control the field, that's a lot of positions just to keep running away from. Like, I don't know, if they won the city, typically they'll push up to like here, give or take, just try chasing you down. And so you can run all the way around the one line. So the one line isn't actually a bad play if you're bottom tier. You just kind of have to, I don't know, it's like, so the problem with the one line on this map is that it requires you to, if you're trying to be aggressive, you need high view range. So the reason I don't push the one line, I'm going a bit off topic here, but that's okay. The reason I don't push the one line is because TDs, right? So to combat camping TDs, you need to load up on view range. So like if you were here, you might just barely spot out to them or something. You need to load up on view range. And the problem with that is that most maps don't facilitate loading up on view range. So it's one of those maps where, sure, it's strong. If you have view range, go push the field. It's great. But if you can do it with view range safely without getting hit by TDs. And that's challenging because you can't generally outspot, even with view range. It's very hard to outspot TDs. But if you can, like end game, the view range thing seems to help out a lot. You can generally like run up to here from the south spawn, farm a lot of damage, and then die. But that's better than like going into the city and dying. But the field, pushing the field has never really worked for me, especially because from the south side, there's almost always TDs up here. And then from the north side, there's almost always TDs right here. So winning the field works for the end game farming thing. If you can actually win the field, or at least win out to here, you can farm a lot of damage if they've won the city. So it's not a terrible play, all things considered, but I would advise playing it defensively like I did, and then making an informed decision based on what you see on the map from there. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. If you want to see more, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I hope to see you around. Later, guys. Bye-bye.